Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of the Rule 34 podcast. I am Jack, joined by my fellow co-hosts,
Dominic Castillo.
Okay, then.
Giovanni. I was muted, my bad.
Oh, okay. Alright, we are back. I think this is our first time in a while that we've so far been on schedule. Or wait, did we record on Monday? No, we recorded on Tuesday. Never mind. Anyway, so how have the two of y'all been since we last recorded, which was only like a day or two ago? But who knows? Some notable stuff could happen. Last time Dom almost got stabbed within the 2 days recording of a podcast episode.
That was pretty crazy. I guess I'll start off. Nothing much has been occurring as of the last 2 days. We did get to finally play Overwatch 2. It was not a good introduction to the game. We'll clarify that, as the game was not up to par in terms of even getting into the game, as the queue lines were very, very horrible. To those who have played the game since the start, you would notice that the queue lines would go from like 40,000 people down to 30,000, and even if you think you're about to even reach 10,000, you will get an instant, game bug error prompting you to come all the way back into the queue line, and it was not fun. Yeah. It was not fun, but it is.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I am very excited for our review next week because there's a lot to essentially talk about when it comes to just so far the game's launch.
Yeah. We'll give it a week. We'll play it together and see how the game plays out. So far, I'm enjoying it. I'm not gonna give it my full review, but so far, I'm enjoying it. It's more fast paced, and it's pretty good so far. I'm just still, adamant about the queue lines, and I feel like they could have handled this better, considering, Blizzard is a I'm not sure if it's $1 billion company, but I'm pretty sure they could afford more servers, or at least more server space for like the huge amount of, people just trying to get in. But aside from that,
to kind of mark this in time, at the current moment, they've sort of fixed them and started stabilizing them. But yesterday it took me on console, which can be an explanation as to why it took so long, but it took me on PS4 an hour to get in. And everyone else, it took a good time as well. It took them a pretty long time to get in, like at least 20-30 minutes afterwards, so it is a bit excessive in the sense of like, man, it's taking like forever, and we're going on to the third day of launch, But at the same time, Overwatch 1 wasn't as bad as this, but like it was pretty bad in the sense of like once it really started getting popular, you did have to start waiting in queues,
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, as we'll talk on next Monday, if we're able to record Monday, it wasn't necessarily the best in the sense of just how little they I don't know, it wasn't like it was, I guess, in a sense like there could have been more done. But like the one prop that I'll give them, that I'll go more into detail when we do that full review, is just I appreciate at least their it wasn't the best, but they were trying their hardest to be vocal about the situation,
Yeah.
Like they were trying to give as many updates as they could as to why they were as to why things were taking long. But like, I don't know, the only issue that I did have as well was just that but it also kind of makes sense in a sense, but like, they kind of took a while in between updates, like it wasn't a consistent sort of thing where they were giving an update every hour, 2 hours, 4 hours. You know, it was like just kind of whenever they could, and so it was kind of confusing when you went like 8 hours without a word of what's being or what's the update on the situation.
Yeah.
The only update at one point was just them liking a tweet that said remember gamers, patience is the greatest feature of a hero or something like that. And you were just like, that's kind of one of the worst ways to promote your game, is liking a tweet telling people to be patient about a game's launch that should have been ready. But they also had DDoS attacks, so there's not much you can fault them on when it comes to that though.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
How about you?
I mean, oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm on PC, so the first day was awful. I was at 50K pretty much the entire time. And then on the second day, no, on the first day I got in for like 10 seconds maybe, and it kicked me out. That was really annoying. And then on the second day, it was a lot better. I got in early, like 11, 12 maybe, and I stayed on for the entire day. Like, I didn't have any problems after that.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, definitely the biggest issue that, like, from launch was the server issues as a whole. But other than that, so far enjoying the game, but obviously just want to wait and give it more time, because could you imagine? I've seen some people doing it, cause some people have been putting out full-on reviews, and I'm just like, it seems like you've only played like 10 minutes of the game due to the server issues, and you're here making a full review complaining about the game, you know?
Yeah, it's too soon for reviews. Like, you have to give like the full game. It's not just like unranked, but you have to play ranked. You have to see how everything is before you can actually make a review.
Yeah, and you gotta
kind of... people just want that like early attention.
Yeah. Especially because right now one of the biggest bugs is like stuff not transferring over, so you gotta wait for that stuff to get patched up, because that's what's frustrating most of the fan base. And when they're frustrated, they're not gonna give you the most critical review, you know? They're gonna be just like heavily biased in the sense of how would you put it? Heavily biased in terms of negativity, I guess you could say. When stuff like that happens and they're like extremely angry, it's like, of course they're gonna put out a bad review. They're not really thinking straight. But
I have a question.
Yes, ask.
And, I'll ask, and then we'll see if this is like worth Monday instead of now. But I've seen a lot of people like complaining on Twitter, saying that it's just Overwatch, like a reskin of Overwatch. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see Blizzard promote Overwatch 2 to be something else besides like the PvE aspect.
Yeah, no, they never. I know a lot of people looked at it as like this sequel and all that, but like all they said was that they were making changes, but that it was going to be just it was just going to be like they never outright came and say it, but like everyone, like all the true, how do I want to word this without sounding pretentious? Basically, the core fan base of Overwatch that has been there from its inception, everyone basically knew this was one big content update, basically, you know? There was nothing in it that was going to warrant it being titled Overwatch 2. Like, all the stuff that they did with Overwatch 2 could have been stuff that they just implemented in Overwatch 1, you know? Like, I think the only reason they did it as a separate game was because if they had just went in and in one big update, you know, said, hey, it's no more 6v6, it's 5v5, here are all these abilities getting removed from characters. Like, if you had did that as an update to Overwatch 1, uh, hell on earth probably would have unleashed, because it's like all those changes probably would have upset people and all that, and would have made the fan base go crazy and make a lot of them leave. So if they reskin it in a sense as, hey, look, it's Overwatch 2 and here are the changes we're making because it's a different game, technically, quote unquote, but everyone knew it wasn't going to be a different game, but like, I think that's the reason why they went with this route. And like, to the people who are just like, oh, it's the same game, it's like, there was nothing really said that it was going to be otherwise, other than adding the PvE aspect, but then also, it's also still different in its own way, like how Dom was saying, so far at this current time, it seems fast-paced, it seems, very much quicker, like a lot of the abilities and all that, but that's just kind of my opinion.
Yeah, that's I think I thought it was a bit unfair for people to be criticizing the game in that way because they have no ground to stand on.
Yeah, I definitely feel that way. Dom, what do you think? Since you're in the similar boat as me, where you've played both games, especially from the very beginning.
I kind of feel like with Overwatch 2, it gives Blizzard, I guess, a blank slate, kind of, sort of. To, I guess, like, backtrack all of their faults that the other players had with and try to, I guess, renew Overwatch for what it was. I'm not sure 100% why. I mean, I understand how some people say, I mean, what's the point of releasing Overwatch 2 if it looks the same as Overwatch 1? Or even why name it Overwatch 2 if it's practically using the same assets as the first game? Or just not, why not just use Overwatch 1 as the base foundation and just add in all of the new characters and all that stuff? But what I think of it as, like, from a developer standpoint is that it's still the same game, but now beneath the game, within like the coding, the server space, and like with like the better, I'm assuming a better like engine in terms of so if like the graphics and such as that. I think that's what they were wanting to shoot for in terms of if they wanted to add in more stuff, they wouldn't be able to because I'm assuming the first Overwatch game didn't have the capabilities to add in like a bunch of either more heroes or to add in like ray tracing and all that all that stuff. And so I think with Overwatch 2, they just wanted to have that sort of like new foundation, a clean one per se. Sure, it's still the same game essentially, with similar heroes and all that stuff. But they get to now have a new how would you say? Basically a new foundation. Just to start off.
It's basically like a remastered.
It's a remaster. Or not a remake. Not a remake, but a remaster.
Graphic-wise, it's a remaster, but...
Yeah.
There's still different components to the game now.
Yeah. I think the devs, and all those stuff, I think they have... I'm pretty sure they still have a bunch more things to add into Overwatch. But if they were to add it to Overwatch 1, I don't think it would be as, I guess, feasible in terms of the amount of, I guess, in-game software that it would have to run with all the new heroes and all that such. It's kind of the same thing with, like, Grand Theft Auto. With, like, GTA 5, Rockstar completely ditched the PS3 and the Xbox 360 versions for the newer PS4, PS5, and, PC versions. They could have just kept along with the PS3 version, but they absolutely scrapped it and decided to, enter in with like the new HD, updated graphics and such as that. So, I just think this is like for the best in a sense of way, so as to give more leeway for the developers to add in whatever they want and whatever size they have. Their files need to be, so that there's like no, I guess, bottleneck in terms of updating or adding in new heroes or all that stuff. So, yeah, crazy stuff here.
And one thing I just want to real quickly add in, before moving on. I think another thing people need to realize, especially at this current moment, is again two things, and it kind of relates to what I've always said about music, and that is you really got to give these things times to establish themselves, and you really, like, this is the one thing I always preach over and over. You really should just completely ignore a lot of the online fan base, you know? Because the one thing the internet does is allow the, like, how do I want to put this? They allow the, like, 1% of a like fan base to have a voice and voice their displeasures, but they're, like, in a sense, there's a reason why that 1% shouldn't have a voice, and because a lot of times they're the ones that just straight up just complain, you know? Like, to kind of give my point, or like to make my point make more sense, there's already people complaining about Overwatch 2 and saying that they would pay money to play Overwatch 1 again. And it's like, weren't these the same people that weren't playing Overwatch 1 for years, you know? Like, I'll go out and say, I didn't play Overwatch 1 on a consistent basis, but I played it a good couple of, like, I put in a good amount of hours over the years, you know, on and off, you know? And I was happy for Overwatch 2 because I was like, there was a lot of things in Overwatch 1 that I didn't like a lot that Overwatch 2 was fixing. But yet you have these people who only 2 days after the game's been out are already complaining and like, oh no, Overwatch 1 was better. And you know they're only doing it for the sake of nostalgia and for you know, interactions, you know, getting people to talk on their posts and get them those interactions and, you know, get their name out there. Like, that's the only reason they do it, you know? So it's like, when it comes to the internet fan base, I truly don't think you should really pay much attention to a lot of the internet's opinion on things, you know? Specifically on social media sites like Twitter and like Instagram, you know? Because a lot of times they're just doing it to troll, to get interactions, you know, and a lot of the times it's never genuine, or, you know, they're not exactly the kind of best advice to seek, you know.
Right.
Because seriously, go back to even a week ago, and I guarantee you there was so many people talking about like, oh, Overwatch 1 is dead. Overwatch was a terrible game, as it's coming to a close, you know, like people only truly cared about Overwatch 1 like within like the past year when it finally came to a close, you know, and then everyone was like, oh, the memories, the nostalgia, and it was like, where were you guys all when this game was still alive, you know? There is people out there with some valid criticism, but for the most part, all I've seen is just people, you know, having some of the worst opinions on the planet that I've seen. But if there isn't any more to say, Dom.
Yes.
Hit us with some news real quick. This is becoming like a new segment for the podcast, but do you have any news?
30 people were killed in Thailand in a child care facility. It's a very unfortunate time. It was an attacker, a gunman, who has unfortunately killed a lot of people. And I think this might be recalled as, at this point in time, I guess the worst mass shooting that's happened so far in Thailand, which is northeastern Thailand to be exact. Yeah, so condolences to all the families out there. Support them. Wish them the best. But it's horrible. Situation. It's very sad. Very sad. Geez, yeah, this is depressing now to think about it. I guess on some other news, a Five Nights at Freddy's is gonna have a movie coming out soon. Let's go.
That's actually a thing.
That's actually a thing. I think it was yesterday. I remember seeing yesterday. I think the Blumhouse Studios, theater studios, are gonna maybe do a release on the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, or a single movie. I'm not sure there's gonna be a sequel. They probably will, just to milk the franchise. But we'll see. I'm pretty sure this movie's been in the works for I think now 3 to 4 years, with like teasers and little snippets here and there of the movie. But I think we might be finally getting a movie on it very soon. What other else? Also on movies, I think the Super Mario movie. I think that's also happening. I think very soon. I think Chris Pratt is still going to be playing the role as Super Mario. We'll see how that plays out. Just today as well, a new trailer came out for the very most recent Need for Speed game that's called Need for Speed Unbound, which has Travis Scott as one of the main, I guess, antagonists of the game. And Travis Scott also has his own personal Mercedes within the game, which is, obviously like heavily customized, to the liking of Travis. So yeah, we're gonna have Travis. No, I'm an idiot. I'm very sorry. That was not Travis Scott. If I'm correct, I think that's it's A$AP Rocky. Holy crap, my bad. We're gonna have A$AP Rocky in Need for Speed, which I believe the game is taking place in New York or Chicago. I'm not too sure, but the release trailer did come out. The game's coming out December 2nd or in December of this year. So that's pretty. It's pretty pog champ. What other things have been going on? What else?
If you don't have anything, we could always move on.
Yeah, I believe I have one more thing. What else? Very sad news as well with the LAPD, the Los Angeles Police Department. I believe a rookie who was training was unfortunately killed during training by apparently being beaten by 4 other cops. And currently investigations are currently rolling around as to how this event occurred. And many people are basically clowning on the Los Angeles Police Department because they believe that, practically the whole police department is just all over the place with beatings and unreasonable arrests among the citizens. And now we've gone to here where even they beat their own people, which is really bad. But yeah. Aside from that, I ain't got nothing much else for today.
All right. Well, we'll move on to our subject of today, which is a dual review in a sense of Kid Cudi's latest releases, Entergalactic, the album, and Entergalactic, the sort of short film, I guess, if you want to call it. It was about an hour and a half. There was somewhat there was some anticipation because Kid Cudi had been saying for a while he was going to release 2 projects in 2022, and that ended up being he ended up getting his debut mixtape put on streaming services finally, and then he finally dropped this along with his movie that's been kind of known for a while. And so, obviously, we're just gonna kind of give our general reviews on the album and the movie, but the one thing I kind of want to talk about is just what did you guys think of this whole sort of marketing strategy in a way? Because in a sense, Kid Cudi has said that the album is like a separate thing in a way. They obviously are connected, but it wasn't meant to be like a movie soundtrack, album type thing. It's just that they go together, but they're not necessarily tied in as one as a movie soundtrack. But it's still interesting to see kind of an interesting strategy in a sense of releasing a movie to go along with your album, as a sense to kind of give it visuals. Like, it's a unique approach, but I don't know. Do you guys think it's a successful approach in a way?
I think that this is a very good thing to happen because it's kind of pushing that creative edge of hip hop, or I don't know, just music in general. Because music is an outlet for creativity, right? It's like its own medium. But then you have like animation or movie or whatever. That's a different sort of creative medium, I guess. But like if you were to put both of them together to like express fully what you want, I think that's a big W. Because I don't know, it's good to see because it's not just, oh, here's another album that I dropped. Listen to it. Right, I'm moving on. It's kind of like its own, I don't know, how do you call it?
What do you
What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, it's kind of like its own, like it sets itself apart from everything else. And like all of the fans are now going to recognize that we're what's it called? Intergalactic?
Yeah.
When that dropped, we also got the short film. So this is like a new chapter for the artist, I guess, or something like that. I think it's a big W.
What about you, Dom?
I think when it comes to the music and, you know, any art, you know, films that come with along with music, I feel like they do complement each other a lot. But that's the thing, though. I feel like the music, or like the songs within the album, have to follow a sort of narrative. I feel like it should not have to be out of order, or at least follow a sort of a melodic flow, if that makes sense. A sort of you know, to not change tone of what the story wants to, or the story of the animation wants to, like I guess express onto the viewers, but as well as the animation itself has to also, you know, put in the work to have it look nice. And how would you say? I feel like with Intergalactic, it kind of did pretty well. I'm not gonna say it wasn't. I mean, obviously, it follows suit with it follows suit with as to how well it looks with the Spider-Man's Into the Spider-Verse, with, you know, it's with the London team, I guess, who made the animations, which looks pretty good. I like it. But with the music, it was I mean, the music itself, I'll be honest, listening to the album on its own before watching the animated movie, personally, I didn't enjoy it as much as I would have. I thought I would have, but I guess I didn't really follow the. I guess I understand what the story was about, but I just didn't really enjoy just the music. If that makes sense. The animation was good from the film, but the music itself, I just didn't enjoy. If that makes sense. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just like, you know, my sort of like take on like specific rhythms that I enjoy more. But Kid Cudi on Intergalactic, it was a bit odd. It was a bit odd for me. I'll be honest. The animation was great though. You know, I cannot deny that.
Yeah, I thought the movie was decent. I didn't really enjoy like the first 30 or so minutes leading up to it, you know?
Right.
Like, I don't know, there was just a lot of like I don't know how to put it, but like there was like a lot of stuff in the movie that I was just like I guess you could say I found like cringe. I don't know. It felt like it was like trying too hard at some points, you know? Like I don't know. It didn't, like, at some points a lot of the stuff felt natural, and then at other points it just felt like things were being like forced in a way. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I don't know if you guys felt it, but like sometimes it was like I was watching a scene and I was like, I've never heard anyone either online or in person ever talk this way, you know? Like, it really felt like they were trying to like force it in a way, and like especially some of like the jokes in a way, or like some of the ways they were talking, I was just like, I've never heard anyone talk like this before, you know? And maybe, you know, it was done for comedic purposes, but it just didn't land with me, you know.
Yeah, I can see that.
But like Dom said, though, the animation is really good. That whole style from Into the Spider-Verse is just really, really good animation style. It really made for some cool moments in the show. And I don't know, as far as the album, a lot of it did come off as just what you expect from Kid Cudi, you know? Like what you come to expect from him and the music that he makes and all that. There were a couple of tracks though that like I don't know, for a majority of the album though I wasn't as entertained in a way, if you want to say, you know. Like this album
Yeah, it was very Kid Cudi.
Yeah, this album though definitely had like a ton of points where I was just kind of like skipping through. Like I was like, okay, not my type of song, you know.
Yeah, the first two songs were like, eh. But then, like for me personally, when they got to the third track, I was like, yo, this is kind of good. But then I went to track 4, 5, and 6. Oh, we're back to the same Kid Cudi. So I don't know. Like I really liked some of the songs, but like overall, it was, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't.
I wasn't expecting much, but
Yeah, I my thing is, you know, I don't know. I wasn't like how Gio was saying. I wasn't kind of. I didn't really have too high of expectations, but I was still like, you know, I know what I usually get from Kid Cudi, so like I was just like, all right, let's see what I get, and you know, there was some songs on there that were good and that were good to me, but I don't know, a lot of it just kind of came and went in a way. Like there weren't, like, I have songs that I liked off this album and I have in my playlist now, but there was especially like a ton where I was just like, I don't know, they came and went in a way, you know.
yeah.
But I don't know. Dom, start us off. What were some of, like, I guess the highlights to you of the album?
So, I'll be honest. I don't have that many. Although I did enjoy the 2 Chainz feature in "Can't Believe It."
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the beat, and I was kind of surprised with the bonus track that had a Steve Aoki in it, which I enjoyed that one too. It was not that bad. The Intergalactic theme, just listening to on its own, was it felt. How would you say it? It felt kind of nice to listen to, but I understand it would just fit the film more than just listening to it on its own. New Mode and Do What I Want were pretty okay. I sort of enjoyed it. Not the best, you know, that I've ever heard, in my opinion. But I just feel like with the entirety of the album, I don't know. It just, for me, it doesn't feel like there's much replay value to it. Maybe to others, maybe it's, you know, 100, like, you know, it's absolute perfect, you know, perfect melodic tunes and, you know, perfect flow of the music. But for me, it's just, I just don't know. It didn't hit right with me, except for Can't Believe. Can't Believe was pretty okay. But for me to like listen to it constantly, I don't know. I just feel like, and it's gonna sound off topic, but I just feel like this sort of music would sound like music that you listen overhead while you're like in a Foot Locker at a mall or something. But it's just, I don't know.
Funny enough, there is like a sense of occasion when it comes to the music, you know? So like, right. First off, starting off, I'm going back to my point that I keep bringing up in almost every music review, and that is, it is very rare for an album to be good once it goes past like 10 songs, you know?
Right.
Like, there are long albums that are good. I'm not saying that every album that goes over like 10 songs is bad, but like, and Kid Cudi's isn't that bad either. It's 15 tracks, 45 minutes, but like, it gets bad when nearly half of it can be cut out, you know? If half of the tracks on this album were cut out, I would be giving it a higher rating than what I have in mind. But because there's so much in it that just felt like filler to me, that felt what's the word I'm looking for? It felt like filler. It didn't really connect with me. It didn't really seem all that great. And then the ones that I did end up enjoying didn't still feel like they had that like when it comes to like the classics that an artist has, it doesn't match up to that, or even like their best songs. It doesn't really feel like I wouldn't be naming some of the songs that I liked off of here as like, oh yeah, that was some of Kid Cudi's best work, I still like them, but it's not like it's the greatest off of it, They in a sense, I almost want to say they're good because of the surrounding tracks,
Right.
Where it's like, because the other tracks are so hit or miss, it makes these tracks seem better. But put these tracks lined up on Man on the Moon 1, 2, or 3, or even what's the other album? I forget what the other album's called. It has him on the cover and he's like pink. But like match it up with tracks from those albums, and it's like the best from those albums kind of blow the best from this album out the waters,
Right.
And as far as the whole sense of occasion thing, it's funny that you brought up the Foot Locker thing, because the whole kind of sense of occasion, I guess you could say, with Kid Cudi's music as a whole is just psychedelics in a way, It's supposed to have like that psychedelic feel to it and all that, but you could kind of get that, especially through the show and its style. Like, that's the one thing the movie kind of did real well with its style, was kind of displaying that like psychedelic style, but I don't know, man. I just didn't really enjoy this album as much as I thought it was going to be,
Right. But I would have to agree with you 100%. Like, I feel like the movie carries along the album with it, so as that you can see a visual as to how Cudi would have wanted his songs to, I guess, to be visualized, right? Because if you just listen to the album on its own without watching the movie, you yourself would have to create, I guess, that sort of scenario as to how Cudi is like feeling in each song at every moment, per se. Yeah. So I feel like the movie is able to, I guess, prop up a scenario as to what he wants you to see.
Yeah, because I definitely felt like a lot of the songs, like if you didn't watch the film, it would, in a sense, I almost want to say, like, I don't want to say this in like a mean way, but like it would come off as like generic in a sense, like where you listen to it and you're like, oh, okay, it just sounds like your typical heartbreak song or love song, but then you watch it with the film and you see sort of the build-up of the characters to get to that point, and how the music ties into the story being told, and you're like, that makes it so much better in a sense,
Yeah.
Like Ignite the Love definitely, sounded, or like it was definitely better to me because of the movie,
I agree.
But I'm trying to think, there was something else I was gonna bring up. Dang it, it just went out my mind. But I don't know. I think, yeah, I think I will agree with you that, like, even though I didn't enjoy the movie, like, I didn't think it was the greatest because of its start. Like, the finish was really good. Like, the second half of it was really good. I really liked a lot of the character development that we saw, and in a sense, it feels very authentic in a way, Like, I brought up conversations and stuff feeling short, but like the sort of scenario that was proposed throughout the movie felt realistic in a way, Like, it still had that like movie vibe to it, of course, with like the whole, oh, they were neighbors and they fell in love type thing, like that just seems kind of, again, generic, but like the way they told the story felt very like authentic, like that. The story felt very similar to what you hear from a lot of people's experiences, with trying to move on from their past situation and into a new situation, and how that past situation can come to affect the new one, and the sort of tones and sort of message of like having to put your pride aside for love,
Right.
A lot of the stuff, felt authentic, and I think that's what I enjoy. I think I enjoyed the movie more than the album, but the album kind of helped the movie out in some scenes, where the music was in the background. It just really fit in.
Yeah. Mm. I feel like with the movie, with the story of Jabari and Meadow. Wait, it's Jabari, right? I'm not saying it correctly. Jabari. Yeah. It was interesting. It was interesting, and with the I guess romance comedy sort of ordeal, it was nice. It was pretty good. The music was nice, not on its own, but with the movie. The film, yeah, I agree. It was kind of weird at the start, but really, really good at the end. For some reason, I kind of just enjoyed the little part where what was it? I think they're in the aren't they like in a disco or a dance floor and they're like spinning each other one around and singing "I Feel Fantastic" or something like that.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty. I like that. It's like I'm not sure how to explain it, but it's like a I guess a connection, a little connection that that just feels good, I guess, in sort of this sort of scenario in terms of relationships and all that stuff.
Yeah, the movie's best sort of the thing it did best was visualize emotions in a sense, like it did a real good job capturing a lot of the different emotions in a visual sense. Like the one that I've seen people get like throw the most praise at was the way it displayed love at first sight. You remember where they're having a party in the apartment next door and he goes over to complain, and then like the two of them catch each other's eye, and like it's almost like it kind of visualized the whole scenario where it's like time freezes and stuff, and like your mind kind of goes blank in a sense. Like people really loved that scene where it really gave a good visual to like the whole love at first sight thing.
I agree. Also, one little part that for some reason stuck with me was the I think it was the chlamydia joke. I feel like that was kind of weird. Like they just Jack. I know it sounds stupid, but what are your thoughts on that joke?
I'm trying to remember. I can't remember it, but I'm gonna go back and listen to it. But I guarantee you that was one of the things that probably fell under the whole forced dialogue type thing.
Yeah, it's I'm pretty sure something about helmets and then safety.
Oh yeah. No, that was the forced comedy. Yeah, that was the stuff that I was like, that's so stupid.
Yeah, I felt like that was forced and like just out of the blue. It was like they're talking about something, the helmets, and like, oh no, yeah, chlamydia and all. Yes,
that and the story about the guy's neighbor when they were at the washer and dry cleaner story where she turned out to be like a Russian spy or something. That was one of the weirdest segments of the movie that I just kind of skipped over because I was like, that's kind of stupid. I don't know if you remember. If like those are the parts that I felt forced comedy. Sorry, Gio, if you wanted to say more. We have about 50 seconds, so final ratings. If you want to do separate ratings for the movie and album, but be quick. We have 45 seconds.
The album, I feel like it was 5 or a 6 out of 10. I'll give it a 6. The movie, maybe a solid 8, maybe a 9. I enjoyed it. The animation was nice. It felt good. The music felt nice along with it. I'll give it an 8.
What about you, Gio?
I agree with Tom on the album. It's a 5 or a 6.
And
the movie, I feel like 7.5 maybe.
Nice. I'm going to give the album a 5 just because I was like a bit disappointed with a little bit of it. And the movie, I'll give it like a 7 just because of the first half. But with that being said, thank you all for joining for this episode, and we'll catch you on the next.